kind of get a feeling on how I'm going to tweak the presentation, which ones I will get a little bit of sense to what you guys do. So which ones of you currently are working on mobile games? Quite a few, fantastic. Which ones of you are self-publishing? Some, okay. And who is intimately familiar with advertising already? One person, okay, so many persons. Then I don't have much to say, so let's just get the SDK installed and going. Anyway, let's see, we're gonna have a Q&A in the end, but if there's something there in the session that you really wanna ask, like, hey, why is that, what's happening, just stop me and use the microphone. So we can do this very interactively. So with that, I think we're gonna get going. So my name is Jussi Laakkonen. I recently joined Unity as Unity acquired my company Amplifier. At Amplifier, we do things, or now at Unity, we do things. One is this advertising stuff we're going to be talking about today, and second one is EveryPlay, which is actually going to be immediately following this. Advertising primarily focuses, right now it's available on mobile, on iOS and Android. We'll be bringing it to further platforms in the Unity family. And EveryPlay is also available for iOS and Android to help you improve social discovery for your games. So today we'll be talking about advertising in this 30-minute session. And when we think about advertising inside Unity Ads, there are actually 3 different use cases. One is that you have a game and you have a lot of users who are not paying you and you would like to earn some ad revenue. That's one use case. The second one is cross-promotion, either internally, so you're promoting your other games, or you're promoting a game from a friend, so you're doing some kind of direct deal with them. Or third one is paid user acquisition. That is, you're running campaigns, you're paying on an install basis to acquire users. For the purposes of this presentation, all of these could actually take 30 minutes each or an hour if we really go deep down. We unfortunately don't have time to cover paid user acquisition. It's a whole different art form, how much you should bid, where you're targeting, and it really ties very closely to LTV and all kinds of interesting stuff that is probably a little beyond this presentation. So we can really focus on how to make money, or how to get users by either cross-promoting internally or with a friend's game. So let's start with monetization. I think if you're working on mobile applications, the reality is, depending on your game, it's 90%, 99%, or something in between. Maybe in industry average, it's 97% of people who don't directly pay. So what's interesting, there have been a couple of studies around people and their attitudes toward mobile applications, and that includes games also. And it really seems to be that what's happened in the internet, which is basically it's really hard to sell content, is followed completely into mobile, and people's attitudes to advertising, according to a couple of studies I've seen, are that they much rather prefer free content with advertising than fishing their wallet, even if the price is small. So your task as a developer is to fundamentally figure out how do you reach those people that really like your game and turn them into true fans, people who really will engage with you and pay you, because that is if you're successful, will be the mainstay of your revenue. But then as an auxiliary revenue, and for certain games that are hard to monetize with IAP, advertising is really the only way to go right now on mobile. Maybe in the future we'll see some kind of subscription models evolve for an a la carte offering, but right now there's really only 2 places to go, advertising and IAP. And it really depends on the game. If your game is very casual, kind of, I would say a trivia game, you're going to be hard pressed to make money on IAP because there's less competition, there are less kind of sticky elements that people are willing to pay for. Now, I never, when I joined the game industry, imagined that I would be in the ad business, frankly. Like, I started as a game producer, then a kind of business nerd selling game projects to publishers. And when I think about actually being in the advertising industry, I really try to look at it from a game designer, game producer perspective. What would I like to see in an ad that would be in my game? And this, when I think about an ideal ad, something that I would like to have if I'm making a game, I would actually like it to be something that the user somehow controls. That is, instead of trying to force feed a whole lot of advertising, I would like that ad to be something the user chooses to use. This, by the way, it comes with a contradiction, but we'll talk about that in a little bit later, because it contradicts another goal of an ideal ad. It should also be valuable to the user. And valuable can be a lot of things. It can be something that informs you, that entertains you. I'm sure we've all seen ads that we thought were funny, and we actually shared those ads. Most of ads are not funny, they're not worth sharing, but preferably, if possible, it should be something relevant and valuable. When I think about advertising, there's this whole line of buzzword about native advertising, which basically just means that it feels like part of the surroundings. So the ads blend seamlessly into the surroundings where it is. And for games, this is something that would feel like gamey in some sense. Engaging is a little the same as valuable to user, but valuable things can also be boring, and I'm looking for things that preferably have something that, that's kind of interesting, that's kind of funny, doesn't take too long. And fundamentally what you want is a lot of money. These are all somewhat pulling in the different directions. Ads are by design to be somewhat obnoxious because they're about there to grab your attention. It's really hard to get around the fact that ads are there to try and grab you. At the same time, if you're doing opt-in, it means that you're moving the control of if somebody wants to watch an ad or engage with an ad to the user, which means you get fewer impressions, which means fewer revenue. So these are contradicting goals. This would be ideal if you could fill all of those, and there's something close to it, but it's kind of hard to do all of these things, so we end up with somewhat compromises. I believe rewarded video advertising is currently the closest thing to matching all of these things, and I was going to show the same video that we had on the keynote, and just to digest why. We didn't really have a lot of time in there to digest why it works. So I'm going to stop this in the middle. So as you maybe saw in the keynote, this is Sonic Dash from Sega, made in Unity. It's an endless runner, and when you die, you have a chance of doing a revive. A revive is basically a free. Let's see if I can. Oh, I cannot stop it. Fantastic. If this was, whoops, why cannot I see the timer? I would really like to stop it in the right place, but I'm a newbie with Keynote. I kind of used to doing this with PowerPoint mostly. Actually, I wonder why I cannot see the timeline. Okay, then you have to be just really fast in spotting this. So it comes a little too fast. We should have had a pause on this video. So when you die here, you get this free revive offer. And now this is definitely in your face. It is somewhat distracting, but it also at the same time, it's just 15 seconds. You're playing a game, which means it is probably you're interested in other games, and you choose to watch, so you're opting in, and it's valuable because I'm getting a reward. Now, instead of the other option here that could happen when you die, there's a pop-up and doesn't give you any options. It just shows you an ad. It's also valuable. Or maybe engaging, but certainly not opt-in. And there are a lot of companies already, or developers using rewarded video advertising, whether it's been a shop where you can get a little bit of coins, where it's very natively inside the game, inside the flow of the game, as something the user might value. This kind of revives are pretty typical, actually. And the reason why this has also become relatively popular among developers on mobile applications is that the people who are looking to advertise with video advertising value video advertising because it's engaging. It informs the player so you can see the gameplay and see, well, would I actually like to play this game that you're promoting to me? And it can really impress the player. And fundamentally what this turns out to be is that you get high-quality users through acquiring users through video advertising. Because of the qualities of engaging, informing, and impressing, it means that the people who are going to download the game based on the video ad are going to be high quality. And this then leads to high demand and price. Now, here's the first acronym of the presentation. CPM is cost per 1,000. So how much money do you make by 1,000 impressions? The whole ad industry is full of acronyms, and this is a very typical one that you'll find there. So basically it just measures how much money you make if you show 1,000, if you start 1,000 advertisements. Doesn't mean you complete them, but you start them. Okay, so the first takeaway from here is that if you're thinking about making more money by showing fewer ads, you need to show more engaging ad units. So right now, video ads are by the individual CPM. How much you make for one particular impression of advertising is basically the highest you can find. Now, it also means that they take 15 seconds, and you have to either make them skippable or not skippable. There are all kinds of things that you can do to tweak it, but this is probably the place you can go to get the highest bang for one single impression. The question I get quite often from developers is like, well, if I show ads for other games, doesn't that mean that I'm losing my users and it's kind of a losing game where I'm going to churn out all my players? What happens to be true is that there's some element on that, but it's relatively small because typically in this industry, what happens is that you're segmenting your audience. You don't show the same ads to the same people. You typically end up showing advertising to people, the audience we talked about, the people who don't pay you or have already been playing, say, for 5 days and have not started paying. So segmentation is really the answer to cannibalization. It's pretty clear that in this industry, nobody's going to be showing ads for a person who pays you $100 per month, because you can never make that much money in advertising. So from the get-go, you need to think about not just what ads you show, but who do you show them to. So some type of just a flag in your game. The most simplest way of doing it is a flag in a game that if the user's already paid you, don't show an ad. That's the simplest way of thing. There are a lot of tools out in the industry. We don't yet offer one, but maybe in the future, that let you do much more granular segmentation. The Playnomics team that joined Unity previously is an expert on this. So we expect that we'll be offering tools to really let you go more granular down the road and figure out who you want to show what ads to. So let's talk a little bit about how to make more money on advertising. And ad revenue is a really simple formula. It's like how many ads times how much you can make per ad. There's a lot of detail inside of that, but fundamentally, this is a volume game. You need high volume to make any meaningful amount of revenue. As a typical CPM, say for a cost per 1,000 video starts for a video ad unit in the United States would be something between $10 to $20. It ranges a lot depending on your game and your audience. But to make $10, you need, if the CPM is $10, then you need 1,000 video starts to make $10. So it is a volume game. So if you don't have a larger audience, it's hard to make money with advertising. It's going to have incremental revenue. If your game blows up and becomes, well, we all hope it will be the next Flappy Bird, you'll make a ton of that. And I think it was quoted that Flappy Bird did something like $50K per day on ad revenue. Obviously, there was no other way to monetize the game, and it wasn't really that well optimized for advertising either. It was just ad mob banners, which certainly are not high CPM. So let's talk about the optimization in detail. Things you need to consider when you think about advertising is where do you place ads, what's the frequency, and what's the ad mix. Now, placement means basically where inside the game will the advertising appear. And in our offering, we have 3 different types of ads. We have rewarded video ads, which means that you can earn a reward. So it triggers a callback to your game, and you give out a virtual item. You can do interstitial video, which is just a pop-up video without the reward. And then you have picture ads, which are interstitials without very much just something that pops up and, hey, I got this thing for you to look at. The biggest takeaway from rewarded video advertising is that if it's opt-in, that you're moving the choice of do you want to watch a video to the user, you really need to make it very, very visible. We see this quite often that it ends up being so that people place the call to action in their store beneath everything else in the scroll line. You need to go through 2 menus and scroll down. It's like go to shop, go to free items, then scroll down to, like the list of Tony items. Oh, it's there. And it's no surprise that he really cannot get quantity, and then they're disappointed on the revenue. So you need to figure out where do you place it so that people will actually see that it's available. The thing with interstitial video and picture is that you're really preferably looking at natural breaks in the gameplay. For example, transitions between levels when you're dying, or your player's dying, or there's some other like a loading screen type of experience going in and out of menus. I think the worst I see typically in the industry is you have a number of different ad networks and you end up placing ads back to back or even top of each other. I've actually seen interstitial ads placed on top of our video ads, which then be followed by another ad network. So you're really trying to strip mine everything out of the game, and the user feels like he's sweating flies away, like, get out of my way, I need to play this game. So you need to really kind of think about like where do you place them in a way that the user will not get super annoyed by it, because then you're just hurting yourself. And that ties very naturally to the next question, the frequency. And this is a very typical question we have from developers, like how often should I do this? Now the answer is, it depends on your game, it depends on a lot of factors, but here are a couple of rules of thumbs. Even if you think that, well, I should show as many ads as possible, there are certain limits to that. So because a lot of the industry currently revolves around some type of performance marketing. That is, they're trying to show an ad to get an action, like to install a game. If you force feed a lot of stuff at people, they will just become blind to it, and then your CPM drops. Your your quantity goes up, or your CPM goes down because people are not taking action. They are getting really annoyed at ads, and the only one is get away from the ads. So for rewarded video advertising, there's also this risk that people will strip mine the rewarded video ads to get coins or whatever you offer. So you want some limits in there, because if you just let them like do it 100 times, somebody will do it for 100 times, and then you're wondering like, why is my CPM so freaking low? Well, people just strip mining it for soft currency or something. So you need some limitations in here, because otherwise people will exploit it as a kind of free coin generator, and they will drive down your revenue. Now for interstitial video, we have a couple of games that basically use this, that they do it like once per session or once per 15 minutes or once per 10 minutes. If you're force feeding video, you really don't want to do it every minute. You're really going to piss people off. So I would say good rule of thumb is like once for 15 minutes, maybe once per 10 minutes. Or if you're just measuring the sessions, you do it once per session, and then you wait, say, 10 minutes, and you do it again. So you do it regardless of if there was 10 minutes before that. If the user is starting up a new game session, you always do it once per session, and then you wait, say, 10 minutes for the next one. These are not hard and fast rules. There are some games are more suited for doing more aggressive, and some games are like, I really, really don't only want to do it like just once per 30 minutes. So you have to experiment a little bit with this. And with pictures, I see a lot of games, unfortunately, doing so. They have one in the boot up, then you have one in the menu. That's one when I finish the level. I've seen like 10 ads before the first minute is gone. And that really will not help you in revenue. So you need to be somewhat judicious about it, because it will drive down your CPM, and in the end, you're not going to make that much money. So ad mix, one of the things the rewarded video ads is the closest thing we have an ideal mobile ad right now. It is something that is not the cure-all for everything. But the good thing about rewarded video ads is that because it's a kind of an opt-in experience, you can have it from the very first session on, because the user is choosing to engage. So you can just have it in the menus, you can have it in the flow, and you can target anybody in the game, pretty much. The reason why I think you can also target rewarded video ads at people who spend a little bit of money is that the people who spend money are typically very, very sticky. They don't really move until they've completely done with your game. But of course, also here you can filter, and I would probably err on the caution and filter also here. But basically what I'm trying to say with that is you don't have to exclude people from doing based on how long they played your game. Whereas if interstitial video and picture ads, especially if you're in a launch period, I would really err on the caution of not showing too many ads until the user is clearly engaged with you. They're playing your game. Because, for example, putting a boot up ad spot from day one in front of everybody is just a big thing, like, hey, I'm here to play your game. Oh, what? Actually, you don't want me to play your game? So there are times and places where boot up ad spots are great. For example, when you launch your own new game. But I would really look at ways of like waiting for a little bit before the user is engaged, like starting after the third session or so. So here are a couple of examples from Sonic Dash. Some of these are using Unity ads. Some of them are using some other ad networks. So here in their main menu, they have a free rings offering. So this actually is a rotating sign, so it's swinging around slightly, gently in the breeze. But it's because it's moving, it's actually pretty attention-grabbing. Like, what's that there? Oh, it's free rings. And when you tap on that, you get actually a selection of, you can like us on Facebook, or you follow us on Twitter, or watch a video. So they're also putting other types of offers because they want to also people to be connected them to in social media. The other one is what we looked at earlier. This is the in-game action. So when you die, it's actually timed. You have like, I think 5 to 8 seconds to react to this. So they're using also urgency to get people to make a decision. So it's not actually waiting there forever. It's going to be there, take an action, or it's gone. So it's somewhat almost an effective trick, I would say, because people will like, oh, what is that? Oh, and timer's ticking away, and next time you see it, oh, I need to act on that. So I don't know if they tested it or not, but I think it sounds like a relatively effective trick, but they could also work very well by just staying there. They also have a shop item, so when you go in the shop, there's a free rings option, but that's again the problem is you need to go to the shop, then you go in the free rings, and then you look at the list. So I would say that's my least favorite of these. The main menu button is probably the most effective as a kind of overall call to action, and this in-game revive is something where you really want that revive, you really want to continue going on, so that works well. For the other things they're doing in Sonic Dash is they have a boot up ad spot, which they only use for cross-promoting their own games. So they are using this internally to promote like Crazy Taxi or a new Sonic game. And this is a very, very powerful spot because everybody who starts the game will see it immediately. The risk is you're driving people away from your game to another game. So you need to really be very cautious of using this, in my opinion. It's a very typical spot for a lot of games who use chart boost, but I would also say that this is a little bit of a big, like, you're going to the game, and the first thing you see is an ad. It's a little bit of, well, it's aggressive, it works, but I would really use it more primarily for like an in-house promotion. And then they do between levels, so when you die or you finish a level, not every time. They have frequency cap this also, like we talked about earlier. They sometimes show an ad. And this is now for some other game, this time Boom Beach. I need to actually pick up the pace so we get through this. So key takeaways from here, when you build your game, imagine that you would put every single ad you ever think of in your game. So as many ad placements as possible because you don't have to use them. But if your game blows up and you find out that there's a lot of audience but not much payment, you want to have as many possibilities to turn off different spots post-launch. So I would think about using as many spots, boot up, between levels, wherever you think of, you name them, and then you control them when you're live. Think very much where and how you're placing this, and think about what's the reward for video advertising. Why would I, if you do rewarded video advertising, why would I engage with this? Why is it meaningful and valuable for the player? So when the game's live, then you can control the placements. So you can turn on and off, and you can target like a house ad here and a paid ad there. And you can turn off all the others. So by being prepared, when you're building the game, you'll have this option once you're live to control it. You can turn it on and off, and you can use the same ad spots for cross-promotion or paid, depending on how you want to target ads. So it's completely in your control. Now let's talk a little bit about cross-promotion. As we announced on Wednesday, we're launching, I believe, the world first for free cross-promotion with video. And I really think video is where it's going to be at because it has this opportunity of engaging and impressing the players, which a static picture ad will never do. It conveys with audio, action, and showing the excitement inside the game. You can really find people that are more valuable for you and moving people across, say, your own games or swapping players with your friends. There are two types of cross-promotion. There is the in-house, that is, I'm promoting my own games in my other game. And the direct deals is something you do with a friendly developer. You say, like, we agree to swap users we'll swap 5,000 users, or I'll just give you users because you're a cool dude. So always scary is live demos, and let's see how badly this breaks. So, okay, so I guess I need to mirror my display so we get this visible. Just a second. Arrangement and mirror. There we go. Okay, so this is my dashboard for Unity ads. Here are a couple of games that I created. Space Ads is our demonstration game. We'll be releasing the source code for that to show a number of ways of integrating advertising in your game, and we'll look at that in a moment. It's not yet available, but it will be shortly. Archangel is a game that we are already running. We have a couple of test campaigns for it. And now I'm going to try actually creating a new game for this. The network's been slightly flaky, and it's actually causing a few problems here. But let's see if we can get this going. So I'm actually going to add Angry Bots here. So I already looked at Angry Bots here in the App Store. And I'm adding the iTunes URL. And I'm going to look up the application. So we just pull out the information of that. Which ones of you are familiar with the legislation called COPPA, Children Online Protection Act? So because of that, you need to say if the ad's directed under Senior 13, it means certain things will happen and certain things won't happen. So to make it safe for your game, we need to be COPPA compliant. This game is for all audiences, so we don't need to worry about COPPA, but we need to declare it as one. So now we created a game. And the next thing we need to do is we need to add a campaign for it. So we're going to go to Add Campaigns. So we don't have a campaign yet going, so we can start acquiring users. And right now in this demo, we only have paid campaigns and in-house ads, so we're going to do a house ad. This is a picture ad test. And so we can use video ads for cross-promotion. You can use picture ads. So we're going with pictures. And if we don't have an end date, this is going to run indefinitely, so we're going to just do that. And we can create this. So a campaign can have multiple different ad creatives, so you can A/B test different creatives, but this time we're only going to do one creative. And provided everything works well, I'll be able to add that campaign momentarily. Always a little scary doing live demos when the Wi-Fi is slightly wonky. Wonder what is loading. There we go. There we go. There was something funky there. So now we have the campaign there. Fantastic live demo. Settings. I think I'm just in the wrong place. Okay, here we go. So we have the picture. So we're adding the creative pack. So creative pack is basically the landscape and portrait ads for this. And I'm such an awesome graphician that I've made these fantastic ads which are white and has a text. You can see it. I'm really at my best here. So there we go. Should upload it momentarily. Hello, Wi-Fi. Let's try that again. Probably never should try live demos. That's a shame. Something's going wrong. Luckily, we have other in-house campaigns. So you can imagine that I put the save button and we switch to the campaign. Let's go to 7 so we can see the iPad. So luckily, I had a chance before this presentation to configure an in-house campaign. So this is Space Ads, which is our demonstration title, which we will be releasing the full source for. So you can see that ad integrations and how we've integrated to the Unity ad system. So this is a in-house cross-promotion spot, which is running for about a week to promote Archangel. In this game also we're using rewarded video ads, so you can see we have a really big call out here for watching videos. The experience is really like this. I'm sorry we don't have the audio connected here. So this is a 15-second video ad and this is a paid for, so promoting somebody's game, League of War. It's from Gree. And now if I want to install, I can click the download for free button, or I can exit this. And then if you notice in the high top right-hand corner, it went from 0 to 10 coins. It should have a better notification that you earned something. You can also, when Space Ads releases, you can also see this incredible gameplay in Space Ads. It's a one-button gameplay. You press the button, the game plays itself. And once it ends, should be showing me a video ad. So this is worse. Not much, I bet. So we'll be releasing this just to show you the different ways of creating this, integrating ads into that. And with that, I'm actually running out of time. So unfortunately, we didn't completely get through all of this, and I'm only going to show you the last slide and take a few questions, which is how hard it is to actually integrate in terms of, was it 6 or was it 6? Yes. So here's the code. It takes all 3 lines to get a first test going. And I'll leave that open, and while we may be able to take 1 or 2 questions, we're running slightly late, but if you have a question, please use the microphone, and I'll be available after this if you have further. Okay? with that, I want to hand it over to Carl and Oscar, who will talk about Everyplay, which is very exciting. Thank you all for coming.